Good morning, everyone. So it's not very often that I break out the psychedelic fedora, but this is not going to be about drones. This is going to be about something entirely different. About something that I'm going to possibly embark on. I'm not sure as of yet. I'm kind of doing my research. I have experienced with some different stuff for my anxiety and depression that I've kind of dealt with. Now, mind you, been a caregiver for my mom with dementia for over 10 years, and that really is a taxing journey. Anyone who is a current caregiver knows how much it kind of chips away at you every single day. Right now, my mom is 90 at a memory care home with dementia, and even though she's in a memory care home and being looked after, there's still tons of advocacy work that needs to be done on a daily basis. There's doctor visits, there's times where she has issues, needs to go to the ER. It really is nonstop. Every single day, literally, I have to address, not put up or whatever, but I have to address some kind of issue or concern that the facility has, that my mom hit her knee or whatever it may have been. So very stressful, and especially when it's the person you love most, like my beautiful mom. She means the world to me. She is the only thing that I have as far as a person and family left. I was adopted when I was a baby. So she's, my father, my adopted father passed. My biological father, I don't know who he was, but I can't find my biological mom either. I looked. So the only person I have in my life is my mom, who's 90 with dementia and slowly fading away. So it's been pretty challenging, and it has taken a toll on my mental well-being in a lot of aspects, and it's been a constant struggle dealing with anxiety and depression, probably more anxiety than anything. I'm slowly feeling like I'm getting on top of things. I know a lot of it is situational with my mom's journey, not being in Hawaii or somewhere beautiful like I want to be and feel I should be. So it's been tough, but regardless, without getting too into my life, this is about Mindbloom, which is a ketamine treatment. And the important thing is ketamine, which is a psychedelic kind of psychoactive drug, has been legally approved to be used for depression and anxiety and PTSD and things that maybe traditional SSRIs and antidepressants cannot fix. People are not all the same. So someone may do really great with a Prozac or something, and others may have miserable effects or not get any positive anything from it. That's kind of how I feel. Anytime I've tried any kind of antidepressant, I feel horrible, and I feel almost like I got poisoned, and it just does not work well with my body or my system, and I just can't go there. I can't even imagine having to go through the first month of side effects with some of these things. I've tried Zoloft and a couple other things, Prozac, Depakote, to name a few. But regardless, this is, again, about Mindbloom. This is going to be an unboxing of the kit that they send you. Now, mind you, ketamine, you can go to clinics, which I've done in the past, and I had really negative experiences because of that. And the thing is, you go to these clinics and they really don't understand what ketamine truly is, in my opinion. They may understand some of the benefits that you can get from getting ketamine administered to you through an IV. So when you go to these clinics, usually that's what happens. They'll run an IV into your vein and give you the dosage that they feel you need, and that's that. But they don't have any kind of integration. They essentially kick you out when you're done, and it has a very cold and sterile feeling to it, and it's pretty intense. Anyone who's familiar with psychedelics or ketamine knows that it's a very intense journey that you go on, and it kind of depletes your body and your mind. And when you're coming out of it, guess what? You're basically left to go, back on the street to your car. You're not going to be driving, so you're going to have someone with you. So there's a lot that goes into the actual clinic side of it. You have to have a friend that's willing to take the time and have the time to go with you, that you can trust, that's going to maybe drive a half hour, an hour, whatever it is, to the clinic. Wait at least minimum an hour and a half to 2 hours while you're getting the IV and the treatment and the medicine, and then deal with you and take you home when you're basically a wet noodle and really out of it. So essentially, after you come back, you're pretty much useless for the rest of the day. And then the following day is going to be a day of recovery. So you can't really have a big job. So there's a lot that goes into it energy-wise. It really is a lot. And I'm not sure if I'm going to go through with this, but right now I'm going to show you what's in the Mindbloom box that was sent to me. This is the second of one box that was sent. The first one had the actual ketamine. So this right here is the ketamine in an injectable form. So they give you two options to inject into your fat, like into your stomach, with the actual syringes. So they send you out these syringes that are tiny little insulin type syringes, and you just kind of squeeze a little part of your stomach fat and inject, and it should be much more accurate than the lozenge. The lozenge you have to let dissolve in your mouth for, I believe, 7 minutes and then spit it out, and I think it's not super pleasant. So I just figured, I don't really love needles despite me having tattoo work. I didn't like the IV in my vein during the IV treatment. I thought that felt very negative and not good. It didn't feel like a good thing to be healing when you have a needle stuck in your vein. I didn't like that at all. That was me. That's my experience. But the first package that Mindbloom sent was the actual medicine, so the ketamine, which is kind of crazy that we have, you know, I think it's 100 milliliters of ketamine in here. The syringes, I have the ketamine next to my Irish butter, but it's in the fridge, so you have to keep it in the fridge. They ship it to you. You have to sign for it, and then it has to go immediately into the fridge, because if it's not refrigerated within the first 24 hours, I believe, it goes bad. And then they send you some alcohol swabs, and this stuff, which is basically something that you take, I believe, an hour or two before the ketamine. That is an anti-nausea type pill. So that's essentially the first thing they send you is the medicine, and then they send you this box. So let's go ahead and see what's in this box. So you guys who are contemplating ketamine treatment, knowing that Mindbloom is an option. And the huge thing that I'm going to tell you right now is my experience with the ketamine treatment at the IV clinics. I went to 2 different clinics, and they both were really shitty and miserable and negative and sterile and cold, and they weren't educated, they weren't warm, they weren't loving. None of that existed. It felt like I was going in for a Botox treatment. That's how they treated you. So with that being said, to know that you can control your own set and setting and be in your own house with the friend or family member or whoever it may be to kind of watch over you, and you don't have to expend that energy to go drive far and come back and all of that nonsense. I'm in a home that I feel safe in, and I can easily do it without much energy other than the energy that I got to put towards my healing or your healing with the ketamine, and that's that. So long kind of winded introduction, but we won't keep this too much longer for this video, and we will see what is in this box. So I'm going to open the box, and we get this guy. So this is the little case that they send you. So it's a little Mindbloom, has a little handle on it. Boom, you can kind of see. And we will open it up. I'll put this candle out of the way a little bit. Now, mind you, I do not know what's in here. I have an idea. I think they send you a blood pressure cuff and stuff like that. But we'll open it. And here we go. So we have the ever so important pen, boom, and we have a Mindbloom journal. And we have this, which is probably some information regarding the program, essentially like your pre-session checklist, your setting, your space. See, even here they have in the setting area, tidy your room, remove pets, noises, distractions, wear comfy clothes, recline in bed or on the couch, set up blankets and pillows, dim the lights, light incense, scented candles, or sage. When I went to the clinic, literally my first time getting the IV treatment, I went to a clinic. Now this is a reputable clinic in a nice up in, you know, whatever, a wealthy area in the suburbs of Chicago in Naperville. the lady, there was one person in the clinic. So one person to administer the IV, to be there, to answer calls, whatever it may be, and to monitor me while I'm under this crazy, psychedelic drug that I'm kind of worried about. Now, mind you, you're dealing with anxiety or depression or PTSD, and then you're walking into a setting that doesn't really feel super safe. I didn't have a good gut intuition feel. My spidey senses, whatever you want to say, were not really feeling great and warm and fuzzy, knowing that there was one person only in the entire clinic. Now, there was an issue when I opened the door to the building or to the office, and when I was literally, this is long story short, when I was peak, like probably 20 minutes into my session, this lady, the one lady that was there, decided it was a good time to go and fix the door. So now she's opening the door and slamming the door. I mean, like a loud, jarring, boom, 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 probably 8 times until I had to kind of snap out of my ketamine realm and say, what the heck are you doing? So she was that oblivious and clueless to the fact that I'm in this healing realm and zone and paying for it too. And she was so clueless that loud noises could possibly be a super big negative. That's literally one of the most traumatic things that I remember from the entire ketamine experience. So good and bad, that annoying thing really was jarring and really kind of traumatized me, which is why I kind of have reservations about this. But just the sake that they're even bringing it, Mindbloom is bringing this to people's attention, is huge. Now looking back, I wish I would have just went with Mindbloom in the beginning and not even messed around with these goofy clinics, because literally they're essentially like you're going to get Botox or some kind of treatment like that, and that's how it feels. So journal your welcome guide with some good information from what I'm seeing already. A little pen. We have, I believe this is the cuff for your blood pressure. So they're going to have you check your blood pressure prior to taking the medicine and afterwards, I'm sure. And there's a little box, which I believe is where maybe the lozenges come in for the non-injectable format. And they give you essentially a mask. So to cover your eyes and have total darkness, so you can see a nice little embroidered, nice mask. And that's that. The entire program for 6 treatments is around $1,200, but completely worth it if you're at a point to where you feel you want to explore some other options, maybe get off your medication, whatever it may be. But just know that ketamine is not an easy thing. It's not like just taking a pill and that's that. You have to go through a pretty profound psychedelic or experience, whatever it may be, depending on your dosage. Dosage is very key. I've been reading a book called Ketamine Papers, and this is a pretty scientific book on a lot of the research done with ketamine, and the dosages can vary, and a lot of the talk in this book is about the psychedelic doses, the real high at your limit dose. Will it have the same antidepressant kind of effect as it would at a lower dose, like a micro kind of dose of the ketamine? And they're saying supposedly it will, and it does. But that is also dependent on you and what you or where you want to go. So I know that they have some Zoom kind of calls before and after to kind of go through the dose and how you feel, but I don't know. I mean, this is something that's kind of new to me, even though I did 6 infusions at a ketamine clinic or at 2 different clinics, but they were really pretty negative and I didn't feel like I got a ton out of it. And this is kind of like a take 2 doing this in a controlled setting, which is what I should have gone with initially and listened to my gut intuition, but instead I didn't. I was reading and researching, and people seem to have said that the IV was going to be the more intense and the more, effective way to treat anxiety and depression, but just know it isn't easy. So this is not a simple cure-all. You have to put in the work. So ketamine, the way it works, it's supposed to kind of reset your brain and pave over some areas that maybe have some negative type thoughts and depressed thoughts without getting way into it. But just know that you do have to maintain a positive outlook. You need to kind of reframe your thinking and put in a lot of energy, because you're going to take the medicine, you're going to have an intense time that you got to be prepared for and be open for and to. And then afterwards, you got to kind of come down from that. You have to kind of give yourself some time to relax the next day, because you're going to still kind of be zapped from the entire first experience. And then you're supposed to do this 5 more times minimum. So maybe I think the first 2 weeks you do the first 3 is what they suggest. And then afterwards, you're supposed to do the other 3 probably like once a week or something for the next, I think within the next 6 weeks or something like that. So it's essentially a treatment that is continuous. It's not like you, and everyone's affected differently too. Some people may feel the effects right away and really snap them out of something. For me, it wasn't like that, but I also don't feel like I truly had the right dosage in my journey to go where I needed to go. It was never super psychedelic, super far out. It was always kind of like I was lingering in this realm. And the last time I had an infusion, it was very intense in a negative way. And I felt almost like something jarred my brain and my body, and like I was damaged myself. It was just a very unnerving feeling that left me with a bad taste in my mouth. So I'm a little apprehensive and a little nervous, but I am going to do my research and take my time. I'm reading this book, which is extremely helpful and informative. And I'm going to see, I got the audiobook too in my car, so I've been kind of bouncing back and forth. But this is essentially what you get with the Mindbloom package. You get a journal to journal your thoughts. You get the medicine normally, but I got the medicine, as I said before, because it needed to be refrigerated with the injectable format. Get the blood pressure cuff, you get the mask, and you get this case, and that's that. So let me know. I figure it's good to put this out there and to give you my real insight on me being nervous about it, even though I've done it. Any psychedelic, any kind of healing that's deep healing is going to be a ton of energy. So with that being said, anytime you're setting out to do some deep healing work, it's going to be scary. You're going to have, apprehensions. It's not going to be something that's just going to be take a little injection or take a pill or take a mushroom or whatever it may be, whatever your medicine of choice is. Even with SSRIs, you have to commit through the side effect journey of that medicine, and people probably know that. You can let me know in the comments below if you've had bad experiences with that. But it was really miserable to me having certain things like Zoloft. I just had really hard times. You have stomach aches, nausea, diarrhea. You feel off. You feel kind of just not yourself in a really bad way. And that may only be 2 days of it in, when you need to at least kind of take 30 days for it to kind of go through your system. So it just never worked well with me. And this to me is another option, but I really want to give it a second chance, other than the negative experiences I felt at the clinics, because both of the clinics, as I said, were very cold, sterile. Set and setting is a huge thing with psychedelics and any kind of psychedelic therapy, and they did not have the set and setting dialed at all. So that's a really huge flaw in this whole ketamine treatment with the centers and the clinics. They just are clueless to what is really needed for the healing side of that journey, or this side of this medicine's journey. You can't go in and have stainless steel cabinets and just people jarring stuff and cleaning out garbage cans and slamming stuff. It really is not conducive to healing. I actually had, and this isn't going to be the last thing I say, the first clinic that had the jarring, slamming door, one person in the clinic lady. The second time, there was another person getting IV treatment next to me, apparently, and I had a really emotional journey, and at the end I was crying, and the lady who is in the treatment room next to me actually shushed me and told me to shut up. So, that's not what you want. You don't want someone telling you, shush, stop crying, when you're in a place of healing and trying to, get past a traumatic part in your life. So it really sucked, and this is going to be a nice option to try in the comfort of your own home or in my own home and space, and we'll see. But this is Mindbloom. So it's mindbloom.com. They're not paying me or anything for this. I'm just sharing with you what I feel is the best, most conservative way to approach ketamine treatment if you are interested. And now they do have the injectable. So if you do want a more consistent dosage, you just simply take the medicine, inject it into your fat of your stomach, and that's that. But you don't have to have an IV running through your vein for the entire duration of the ketamine treatment. And I think that's huge. Or if you're scared of needles and don't want to have any of that mess, you just take the lozenge, you keep it in your mouth, you let the medicine dissolve and absorb into your cheeks, and you spit it out after 7 minutes. You know, you have a mint or something afterwards, and that's that. So hope this helps, guys, give you a little insight into Mindbloom and into ketamine. Again, I can put a link in the description below. This Ketamine Papers book seems to be super knowledgeable and answer any questions you have on ketamine and on the research being done over the years and real life examples and experiences and anything you kind of want to kind of educate yourself with this medicine. So that's it, guys. Aloha, and next video will probably be about drones. So that's it. Bye.